Hello everyone, Joy here, and today's topic is going to be about something quite serious, so I'm just going to jump straight in. So, the common conception of someone who's unemployed might look something like a bit of a stereotype. A dosser, a do-little, an uncouth, uneducated and apathetic person. Someone probably taking drugs or drinking or both. Perhaps a single mother with more kids than the old woman who lived in a shoe. And she keeps getting knocked up because abusing the state benefits is still more of a cushy life than actually putting in some hard work. I mean, it's not like these people actually bother to properly raise their little crotch goblins. That would be too much effort. Maybe, someone who is involved in petty crime, like selling weed or stealing DVDs, because again, it's far less effort than getting a real job or doing a real job. You've all seen the type. Jeremy Kyle fodder with more asbos than teeth. This is most certainly the type of picture the conservative media paints of all unemployed people. But exactly how accurate is it? Let's look at some statistics, shall we? So, the statistics I found from Eurostat, Bureau of Labour Statistics, World Bank, and ONS UK, pegged the UK unemployment rate as of November 2018 at 4.0%, which is kind of low. In comparison, Germany 3.3%, but France, Spain and Italy all had much higher rates. France had 8.9%, Spain has 14.5%, and Italy has 10.6% unemployed. To give this a proper sort of measurable amount, 4% out of 66.04 million residents of the UK gives us about 2.5 million unemployed people. However, that also gives us about 30.4 employed people, and the rest are not able to work or eligible to work by cause of being too young, too old, disabled in some way, or, something like that. The Office for National Statistics puts this at time of January 2019, so slightly more updated. The unemployment rate was 3.9%, so it went down a little bit from 4.0 in the space of about 3 months. And the employment was 76.1%. So that's roughly 80% of the country's population accounted for, and the other 20% is, unemployable, not eligible for work, something like that. However, the Sun newspaper, yes, I know, the Sun, but the Sun says that it's 1.36 million unemployed, which is a far lower number than what I was able to calculate. I found 2.5 million, they say 1.36 million. That's quite a bit of a difference. They also pegged the number higher for employment, so 32.4 million employed rather than 30.4. don't really know how to explain that discrepancy other than it's the sun. However, I want to look a little bit more about the claimants of out-of-work benefits. Now, the number that I could find, again from the sun, so do take it with a heap of salt, at 918,800. And the difference between this number and the number of actual unemployed people is due to some of them being students, long-term sick, or given up looking, or maybe just being rich enough to not need benefits. Still, all the reports say that employment is up and unemployment is down from previous years. And that is one thing that all sources agree on. So, given that the range of statistics that I've found, a little bit shaky, but generally still in the same sort of area, surely all 1 to 2.5 million people out of work in the UK don't conform to the stereotypical example that I gave at the beginning of this video. I mean, that would be impossible. They can't. And they don't. So, let's take me, for example. I'm academic and well educated. I'm not involved with any illegal activities anymore. I don't have any dependents. And I can't, anything that I can't afford to look after anyway. And I've only ever had one tooth extracted. So, by and large, I'm not irresponsible with money. The first thing I do when I get the state benefits is to pay rent. If I didn't, I would become homeless and have so many problems, not to mention become an even bigger drain on society. So that leads to the question, why am I unemployed? I could tell you a little bit about my employment history. The last job I had was a temporary job and it ended in June last year. Before that, I worked at a salon for about a month before I was asked to leave. Before that, I was at another salon for about 4 months. I've been a care assistant, a volunteer steward, an Avon representative, a couple of other things. All of these jobs I struggled to find, couldn't keep, and have these really massive gaps in between them that are really hard to explain to any sort of prospective employer besides, you know, the job economy crash and personal issues. So in an interview sort of situation, I'm asked, can you elaborate on that? And I'm like, no, I can't, because it's fucking personal issues. I mean, hello? I may also struggle with authority. Part of the problem is that hunting for jobs is a crapshoot. If I send out 10 CVs a week, 100 CVs a week, or 0 CVs a week, I get the same amount of results, i.e. no response. None of the jobs I've actually had, I got through conventional means. The job hunting system is geared towards failure. I mean, how familiar does this sound, right? Sure, we'll take your details. Followed by, like, silence. Like, no contact of any kind back. So as a socially conscious and self-aware, articulate and intelligent human being, at least I'd like to think so, being caught up in this kind of vicious cycle of being forced to repeat the same actions again and again, and expect different results is totally soul-destroying. It's the only thing that I've found that can affect my confidence so badly as to reduce it to nothing. And then I'm stuck blaming myself for not figuring out a way to market my skills better, which makes me feel even crappier about my abilities. It might not be so bad if I wasn't forced into this shit no-win position by the government's run benefits system, which at this point is a joke. I play by the rules. I jump their hoops. I'm a little late accepting one commitment and they stopped my benefit. Again. This is not the first time the system has screwed me over, or anyone for that matter. Having my benefits toyed with for missing one session or forgetting to click one link, or even just being a few days late, is like having one's entire livelihood hanging in the balance. How am I supposed to concentrate on anything else if I'm worried that I won't be able to pay rent for this month, or let alone, afford food? And this is all part of the mind games. The DWP has a system that pushes people, to get knocked off of benefits. Now, I get it. They don't abide people like the ones I described at the beginning. But treating everyone like a dull scrounger is just factually incorrect and wildly inaccurate. So, let's talk cold hard cash for a moment. As an unemployed person with no dependents, between the ages of 25 and 35, I get £596.50 per month, but you can automatically deduct 405 of that for rent. It is beyond crap. Then come the rest of the bills, taxes, etc. I really struggle with scraping together money for my face treatments. My diet is absolute shit. In a world where 2 boxes of grapes is £3, 2 packets of Oreos is £1, and 5 packets of fucking noodles is £1, what are you gonna do? The system is broken. There have been several cases where people who are unfit or unsuitable for work have been deemed okay by so-called professionals who are not doctors or nurses. The most egregious examples of these that I can remember from a few years ago were of people so disabled that they couldn't so much as walk up a full flight of stairs, only to be deemed fully able to work for all jobs. And of course some people who can't walk can work, but their options are limited and shouldn't exceed their capabilities, which is not what they were told. Even worse were the cases of people with invisible disabilities deemed fit for work and then unable to cope with either looking after looking for work, looking after their own well-being, or couldn't even take care of their new circumstances, and died as a result. There were others who couldn't handle the pressure of having no stable income and, lacking the proper support, committed suicide. I am not saying that my situation is that dire. But it's worth noting that the system cares way more about numbers than it does people. Back in 2013, I had the worst year. I had a caseworker who literally had it out for me. They sanctioned me for a full 9 months on and off, out of the 12 of that year. At which time I received a reduced income. Now, benefits money is not enough to live on to start with, but slashing that down to 60% of what it was made me the most miserable I had felt in a very, very long time. I was worse than worthless. And this is how I saw myself. And I ended up resorting to self-harm because my stability was in somebody else's hands. I wasn't a fully functioning human, more of a walking shadow. I got therapy and I absolutely begged for some relief. The therapist agreed that taking some time away from this bad cycle would help. My GP said no and wanted to prescribe antidepressants. Eventually things got better when I started to see a different GP who signed me off with some sick notes. And I needed that up until the point I moved location and was about to start college. So the thing is, my depression was not caused by an imbalance of chemicals in my brain. It was caused by a shitty situation that I couldn't see a way out of. And, you know, that was... When I started college, that was the start of a bright new chapter in my life. So I was able to take on the mantle of studying and looking for work. But as you can see, things didn't exactly pan out the way that I'd hoped. Moreover, I'm back where I started, facing more money fuckery, and again, no way out. My point is, the unemployment may have been the thing to make me feel self-loathing over feeling worthless, but it's the DWP structure that pushed me over the edge into seriously fucking depressed. The fact that I'm seeing it happen again fills me not with motivation, but dread. The point that I'm labouring to make in this video is to make that there is a close connection between unemployment and low self-esteem. All of these things feed into the mindset of, I can't do this. I'm not worthy. I'll never be any good. And that's the real barrier to employment. Being stuck in a self-perpetuating cycle of failure, and on top of that, having negative connotations unjustly slapped on by the bigwigs in society. Labels like lazy, scrounging scum. No one can handle that kind of pressure for too long, especially in a system that fails to provide adequate service. So, that's all I have to say at the moment about this topic. I was going to include it as part of a video about depression, but it kind of became its own larger, separate thing. So, yeah. until next time, try to stay employed if you can, because believe me, the other side of the fence is it just never ends. See you again. Bye.